Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest edition of the Dan Banchero Show, only on YouTube. I'm your host, and still a major league piece of work, Dan Banchero. I didn't even think I was going to be doing an episode until probably the day after my birthday, maybe April 30th. But I don't know, it's Saturday night, and I've been moved to share. So I decided to go ahead and get in front of the camera and just speak from the heart. And there's no specific topic, but there's been a lot of good stuff being brought to me through lectures and online meetings and literature and conversations I'm having with people in my close community of recovery. And I don't know. I feel good, man. So I'm hoping maybe one of you who are struggling right now with this whole coronavirus situation or anything else in your life might be able to identify some of the things that I'm feeling and go from there and maybe feel a little bit better. That's been the goal of the Dan Banchero Show ever since the beginning, about, let's say, 18 months ago. All the time we see people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and people take pictures and show videos. Everything's just going so well. And many of you know, who've been watching the show, throughout the timeline episodes on my podcast here, I discussed the events that weren't so fun because life wasn't always very good. And I suffered greatly. I made a lot of bad decisions. They were embarrassing, but thank God I was spared for whatever reason, and I can talk about them now. And I don't know, it just feels good to be me right now, and I don't have this out of this world life, but I'm pretty content considering that I walk around looking like a jack-o'-lantern, missing my front tooth, and I'm going to get fixed pretty soon. But some people are into it. And I don't know. I've been really handling this whole situation a lot better than I thought I would. Most of you who know me for like the last 25 years know that I've always been a steady worker when I'm right. And I have good work ethic most of the time. And, when you get things taken from you and things are a little bit stagnant, and your schedule's thrown off, it's like, what am I supposed to do next? I think a lot of us take for granted our daily schedules, and when we get things taken from us and we don't know what to do with ourselves, we kind of have this way of creating problems in our mind. I was listening to a lecture the other day, and the guy who was talking brought it to my attention that all the problems that I have are experienced in my mind. So what does that leave me with? So for me, like you've heard me say in many episodes in the past, there's principles that I need to apply so I don't have problems. See, if I process it as a problem, then yeah, it's a problem. But if I have solutions in my life, they don't have to be problems. There's, events that happen, and I can make choices with my mind how I'm going to process it. And I didn't know how to live for a long time. I made a lot of bad decisions and hurt a lot of people, hurt myself. And I'm lucky to be alive. And I'm lucky I'm not in prison. So, what does that mean? That means my thoughts control my decisions. They control my beliefs. And from there, I start making actions or taking actions. And so it all starts with thought, right? That's what I'm told. So Buddha said that we're shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. That's a pretty powerful statement. And most of the time I'm pretty upbeat, and sometimes I hear things that I don't agree with or disturb me or whatever. And I was talking to this woman that I've gotten to know the last couple of weeks, I've become quite fond of, and we've been having some pretty deep conversations lately. And we were talking about getting hurt, and for me, I've been through so much between rehabs, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, sober living homes, all these institutions, a lot of different jobs. So my community, just by experiencing all this, has grown through the years, right? And what that means to me is that I now know that every thought, belief, decision, action that I have has the course, has the ability to change the course of history for somebody or myself. We don't realize how powerful our actions are, or our words. The guy said once that our words are our decree. So if I am going to be involved in any type of relationship, and this could go with women, it could go in business, it can go in friendships, whatever. One decision could either make or break a lot of relationships. That could affect a lot of people. So the lady I was talking to, she was talking about a fear of getting hurt by a man, right? So I was explaining to her, for a guy like me, if I'm seeing somebody that's in my community of people and has friends or acquaintances within that community, if I was to act with poor character and, let's say, screw her over or do her wrong, see, I'm aware that this affects my reputation. It affects those relationships within that circle. So with this knowledge, I have to take responsibility for my character. The only way for me to control my reputation is through my character. And the way I control my character is through my thoughts, which control my beliefs, which control my decisions, which control my actions. And coincidentally, I was walking through the park talking to her by text on the phone, and she was telling me that she watches people by their actions. So this all makes sense. See how this all is pure, beautiful synchronicity? For years, I didn't know how to live, like I said. And even after having some knowledge about my past and then learning about certain behaviors, I still would hold on to these disturbances to the point where they became resentments when it came to policies, other people, and it would drive me to insanity, and I'd ruin my life. And in the process of ruining my life, I was making other people's lives worse without the intent. So there's a lot of people who claim they know how to live, right? And I had all this knowledge about myself, but I wasn't applying it. And it gets embarrassing to a certain point. We're not perfect. We're flawed humans, right? We're going to make mistakes. So I think one of the reasons why I have the close friendships I have is because I'm able to recognize that, and I don't really hold those types of things against people anymore, because I realized I was full of shit. I was putting standards and expectations on people that I wasn't meeting myself. So I'm walking around Bay Meadows Park the other day, and I'm listening to another lecture, and the guy said that there's two types of people in this world. There's experts and there's students. So then I started reflecting on my life, right? And I remember going back to 2007 and 2008 and into like halfway to 2009, I got hooked on self-improvement books and spirituality. And I couldn't get enough of it. So my mind was on all these great concepts and things that made me feel good, and I was building my character without even knowing it. So the last couple of years, I've been swearing by I've changed and I've put my life back together through prayer. And yes, that's a part of it. There's several parts to it. But now, after hearing that one statement about students and experts, I've been able to like just branch out on all these different things, right? So once I stopped reading and seeking more areas of self-improvement, and this is only going to be hopefully a 20-minute episode. Otherwise, I go on a tangent about it. You can watch other past Dan Banchero show episodes for all that other fun stuff. But once I stopped making time to learn about myself and master myself, I wasn't growing. So, also, I remember saying at times I wasn't going to do certain things because, I already read that, or I've already wrote that down, or I've already tried that. So I had this expert mentality. I know, right? I'm sure many of us as human beings have gone through that before. I know. And then we keep saying we know until there's some type of great consequence and we don't like it, or we don't feel good about something. So I see a few experts in my life that I've come across. There's a few experts in the workplace. There's a few experts in the recovery movement. There's supervisors in the recovery movement. And from my observation, not my judgment, my observation, they're not really happy. So I think that this time that we've had, away from our schedules, I've been fortunate enough to get back into this literature like I did 13 years ago. And I'm starting to feel the same way I did 13 years ago. The self-improvement, the old ancient wisdom, the spirituality, principles, solutions. So my reality is created by my imagination. So if my mind and my imagination is on good stuff that's helpful and I'm contributing to people's lives, that's pretty good life. Prosperity doesn't have to be a dollar amount for me anymore. I mean, doing videos like this and just having an everyday conversation with a few people about feeling good and having integrity and taking responsibility for our lives, at the end of the day, it feels pretty good. And I'm making less mistakes. And if I do make a mistake, there's smaller or not as great consequences. And if there is a consequence, there is a principle or a concept I can follow it up with to correct the behavior until things are a little bit more smooth. Life's just better. What more can you ask for? Life is just better. So yeah, I was a little bit devastated because I'm losing quite a bit of change, let's say, with this whole situation. Not being able to work at True Food Kitchen as a server. But there's been other opportunities to make ends meet. And I have prosperity in the mind. See, I have an unsatisfied mind that needs to be treated daily. And this extra time that I've had on my hands to get into the literature, get into this miracle working book. I'll keep it the back page, but maybe you know what's on the front page. There's some miracles being worked out of that book. The right people are coming into my life. I got a new mentor. I think many of you didn't know. This guy was here in meetings. He made a lot of sense to me. And he talked my talk, and I said, that's the guy. So I got with him, and we're on fire right now. We're feeling good. And, it's with good intent. Nothing out of this world is happening. We just feel good. And we're building a relationship. And, through that, we're hoping to build more relationships with other people and enjoy our time on this earth until we got to go. Because it's coming. I'm so glad that I stay away from that television set all day long. I come home at night when my housemates are asleep, and I throw on a couple sitcoms or maybe some pro wrestling just for my immature entertainment. And that's it. I focused on my character. And it sounds like BS. I'm not asking for a pat on the back. I'm just telling you what I do. Because I'm calm. I'm at peace. And I feel good about myself. So, yes, a little bit less money, but a little bit more self-esteem. And my relationships are flourishing. I've had some powerful conversations with this woman in the last 2 weeks, by text and by phone. And we have this pretty cool connection. There's some suffering addicts and alcoholics that I talk to on a daily basis. And I'm hearing what they're saying, and it reminds me of where I was at. And I can have some compassion for them. I can repeat myself over and over again. I went through this. This is what I did. And, some people will take suggestions, some people won't. We all have to have our own experience. I don't know what's best for anybody. All I do is say, hey, this is what I did. And it's a lot like what you're doing. And I felt like what you're saying and expressing to me. So maybe try this. And, we have free will on Earth, especially in the United States. I was reading the I Ching the other day. I know it's backwards, but that's what it looks like, by Brian Brown Walker. And he says, a time of darkness comes to a close. The greatest adversity is past, and the light is beginning to return. Growth is only possible when we relinquish the expressions of the ego, pride, impatience, anger, and desire. To act forcefully or ambitiously now will only generate misfortune. By holding to modesty, gentleness, and correct conduct, again, that's my character, you prepare the ground for fruitful blossoming when the light fully returns, when things get back to normal after the coronavirus is through. Be tolerant of others and return humbly following the good. Good principles, goodwill, good concepts, God concepts, higher power. Depend not on your ambition or the opinion of others, but in the principles of the sage. For this you are rewarded. So if I'm going to depend on my reputation, which is controlled by others, I better pay close attention to my character through principles of the sage or the wise. A wrong attitude prevents the return to light. It is time for careful self-examination and self-correction. So, yeah, this is weird. I'm used to going out to lunch or dinner with some friends. I'm used to going to big groups. I'm used to hugs and handshakes. I'm used to making a few thousand extra dollars a month. But luckily for me, I work for 2 great companies. I'm being compensated one way or another. Other financial opportunities have covered me to get me through this. I got a roof. I got a comfortable bed. I got way too much food in the refrigerator. I got good friends that I can call, or they call me. I got a great mentor right now in recovery. I got book after book after book of answers to all my problems through spiritual principles. And I got my health. I don't got my tooth, but that's coming. I just gotta wait for the appointment. And I think I got a good woman coming. And I don't know. I was told in this workbook this week. This is some good stuff here. I just gotta go back to it. Let's just go to the solutions right here, shall we? Check this out. We're talking about being humble and humility. Okay. We learned that it is okay to have feelings and show them. So I'm doing that in my relationships right now, and it's coming back. With the lady, with friends, with my mentor, when we sit down and get deep, we no longer mistook kindness for weakness. We believed we were good people, but profoundly misunderstood. See, I know there's got to be some people watching this saying, who's this guy think he is? He thinks he's some type of guru. There's always going to be a critic. It's okay. Profoundly misunderstood. I know my intentions. It's deeply moving to realize for the first time that we're truly just human and trying our best. We make decisions, both good and bad, and hope things turn out okay. With this knowledge about who we are, we also realize that we're doing our best. So are other people. So are other people. People are acting based on what they've learned about themselves and what they know to the best of their ability up until that moment in their lives. And that makes me a lot softer in the heart, a lot more accepting. I forgive others a lot easier because most of the time we're just doing what we know. If I want to be forgiven for my past, I need to continue to forgive others for what they're doing to me currently, or I think they're doing to me currently. So then it says like this: the spiritual principles of trust and faith are central. We must be sure enough of our higher power to trust that power with our shortcomings or our flaws, our character flaws. So my higher powers are the concepts or principles that can correct these flaws. The results may not materialize immediately, but they will in time. We need patience, so we need to practice it. Impatience is one of our shortcomings, one of our flaws. We can look at the times when we have had to wait for gifts. Sorry, let me say that again. See, I'm flawed. Impatience is one of our shortcomings. We can look at the times when we have to wait as gifts, the times when we most need to practice the principle of patience. So, all the things that I'd like to happen, they're in my mind. I have a thought. I'm going to hold on to these thoughts because my imagination essentially will materialize these things whether I like it or not. You know, it happened with my career, and I didn't even expect it. It happened with the right people in recovery. It happened with, I got the right vehicle for what I do on a daily basis. I'm starting to think it might have happened with the right woman, but, you know, I've been wrong before. My health, my health's been corrected. My blood pressure's down. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I've lost almost 30 pounds. Again, we're waiting on the tooth. See, I'm a little bit insecure. Not really, but anyway. So how do I keep this character? Well, here's a heavy duty line right here. So if I'm going to be a spiritual person, we can now see that the word ritual is in the word spiritual. Okay? So through ritualistic prayer or daily prayer on concepts or principles of what I'd like to be or what kind of strength I need, things can change. My thoughts and my beliefs can change, and they will change my actions. So, this might be a little bit too heavy duty for some people, and I completely understand that. You might be shocked to hear that I was a very complex individual. Pulling Your Own Strings by Dr. Wayne Dyer is a good read. If you ever feel like you've been victimized, this is a great book. So like on page 42, he says this, and this is something I've been doing this whole episode. He says, work on your own language, particularly at eliminating empty pauses and incessant uh-huhs, mm-hms, and you knows. These habits broadcast insecurity and stifle effective communication. If necessary, talk more slowly and deliberately. So, the things that I've learned about myself and these solutions that I've been presented with, I speak with a lot of bravado. I speak with a lot of conviction. And there's always going to be some asshole who's not doing anything for themselves, who's going to say that I have a big ego, or I'm arrogant, or, you know, maybe a little bit too macho. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm just so sure that these concepts and these little habits will work for somebody who is screwed up like I was. I'm telling you, that's why I talk so confidently in the tones that I do, because I know it can work, because I've been there. So I don't know, I think that's enough for today. This was an impromptu episode, not very thought out. I didn't have any notes or nothing. I just kind of pulled out some readings I had in the past couple of weeks that I thought were pretty cool. And it's like the nature boy Ric Flair used to say, if you don't like it, learn to love it. So I hope you've all have enjoyed the Dan Banchero show, only on YouTube tonight. And if you like it, feel free to share it with somebody, or share it on your page or what have you. And I want you to think about, are you a student or are you an expert? What thoughts are dictating your day today? Just think about it. And that's all I got. I hope you guys have a great rest of your month. And I don't know. Just happy to be alive. I'm reasonably happy. And I'd like at least a few of you who watch this family show that I put together every so often. I want you all to feel good too. So take care.